Hey there, welcome to Pop On to Pop Off on a Wednesday. I guess it's October 1st. I guess it is. Wow. As Elliot Mins said, who's a legendary broadcaster from the West Coast, he's now 80 years old, doesn't look like it. He has a $1 million voice, and he's been very involved with the Beatles and the music scene, that kind of thing, but also just doing straight talk radio. So, thank you, Elaine Peterson, for checking in. Thank you for hitting the Cash App as you do. I appreciate that very much. We're popping on early. I don't think I'm going to do the live stream tonight. Um, Actually, doing a live stream right now, um, but just wanted to say hello and say that it's a weird time right now. Everything's kind of quiet and things are happening in the world, and we've gotten into this regimentation of Wednesday, Saturday, which works for some people but doesn't work for others. So maybe uh, we need to vary it. I don't really have anything to say about Pastor Bob Joyce tonight. I don't want to feel that I have to do that because I see what some of my fellow programmers, they're all over the map, and they're not inspirational to me. I can tell you that much. But hey, Adam Davidson, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope there's been no new incidents with you. Are you feeling better, Adam? How are you healing? Several injuries on your leg, and then there's your head. But then there were other things um, that were hurting you, illnesses and what have you. So what's the good word or the bad word? I hope there's no bad word. Hi, Chi Chi, welcome. Faye Rains, hello, Jack, and everyone. Everyone needs time. Yeah, we had um, a really good month the month before and what have you, but that's not the point. I just want to not be as too predictable because then it becomes a little forced. But I'm on here to say hello. Neo saw pulmonology, and I bet you he told you you have sleep apnea. Did he? Hey, Nancy DeMarco, welcome. Welcome to you. Cajun Calvin is here. Hi, Jack. I hope things are going well. Well, yeah, last night went out to the Rushing Duck Brewery because Polka Sean and Polka Norma were out there. The last concert they're having in their Chester music series for the year in terms of something outdoors. And there were quite a few people there. I didn't even know Rushing Duck Brewery existed in Chester. So I saw some friends there, including some of my old radio listeners from way back in 92 Rock 7 days, Bud and Marie. Bud and Marie both worked at ShopRite. Bud worked full time in the overnights. And fast forward, young Bud, as I remember him, is now 65 and is retiring after 40 plus years on the overnight shift stocking shelves at ShopRite. So he'll probably have a good pension and everything. But wow, it's a long time to be doing something like that. It's not an easy job. And your friends that you remember as young are well. He still looks fine because he's kept himself in shape. How are you today, Jack? uh, let's see here. You got a different background. Yeah, I sure do. Sure do. There's the castle that's lit up. The castle. I'm downstairs for this one. And hi, Helen McDonald. Hello, Jack and all from Australia. Australia. That's wonderful. I am doing better. Still have 5 staples. Oh, it's amazing that you had so many injuries in such a short period of time. Is it because you're unsteady, unstable, and become a little disoriented sometimes? What do you think caused those van door accidents? Susie Young, we said hello to, and Patrick Wilburn. And so some of our regulars. Here's Miles Wright as well. Hi, Jack and all. Um, Sammy, it's the thanks button for 279. That's a blessing. Thank you, Sammy, as we begin a new month here. We begin a new month. Um, I'm very interested about the night skies. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? My theory is so many people go to bed fairly early that they're not going to be out there like I am sometimes looking at the night skies. But when I do, I don't have to wait too long on any given night where I can see very strange looking drones. I've seen a couple of UFOs we have a video up here on the UFO uh, that I saw one night and taped from the studio window with the lights out, splitting into 4 colorful parts. There's really something going on. I don't know if you remember, but when Caroline Levitt first came into office, she was asked about all the drones that were not just seen in America, but I think as far off as Holland. And she didn't really address the Holland part, but she said that it was an American operation. And that's really all she said. She didn't say much else. There wasn't really many follow up questions on it. And the idea that there were so many and what's going on. I mean, it leaves you to guess. Do we have a drone patrol that is actively in place looking for any sign that a nuclear weapon may be coming this way or some kind of other problem for the United States of America? Is it like this in Michigan? Is it like this where you live? Is it like this in Australia? Are there strange objects in the sky? But the drone, I guess it's a drone, and none of these are Junior's drones from Best Buy. None of them are. Um, they are much bigger, and they have these big white lights on them, and a light in the middle that goes on and then it goes off for a while and comes back on. It's pretty big, and I have seen it numerous times. One I saw flying very close to a commercial airline that it was pitch black out, and it was flying from Stewart, and it was ascending. They're either going to be ascending or descending, and right on the street where I live, it's on their flight path. But these drones and certainly the UFOs don't have a flight plan. They do what they want and go where they want. So this drone, if you want to call it that, with the big bright white lights, was flying under the commercial airliner. There was never any chance that they were going to hit. I wonder if how nervous the pilot was that that could happen. But these guys are out. These drones, these unidentified flying objects are out every night. Something's happening, and I don't really see any coverage because all of the talk is about politics today. Politics, politics, and of course, what's going to happen with the Ukraine and what have you. And right now, of course, it's the talk is about the government being shut down. So there's a lot of stories that just get ignored now. A lot of stories. The National Guard is in Portland, Oregon. That's a good thing. They're in Chicago. They're still in Washington, D.C. And where was the other place that's getting attention? I guess maybe Massachusetts, Boston, perhaps. They love to go where they're dared not to go by the progressives, you know. Um, and they always try to play it down. The people that are involved with government now, the millennials, for example, are often they're not on the side of America. They're not on the side of protecting their people that live in their city. They're not. They're not interested in actually being true and loyal to the oath that they took to serve and protect the people. They got their own agenda going on. They got their own agenda to transform America into a horrific socialist slash communist country, I think. Hi, Elaine Peterson. Thank you for hitting the Cash App for $10. I appreciate that. Um, Nancy and Terry Whitmore are here. Hello, hello, hello. I should say in memoriam, Terry. He's always with you, though, right? I bet you not a day goes by where you don't think of Terry and remember the good times that you had and long for him to be with you. I would assume, you know, that's assuming that you had a good relationship. And since you continue to put his name in here, it's obvious that you did. It's scary. It's a scary world we're living in. I guess, yeah, I find it very interesting, and you know, again, politics take up so much of the time. Um, the Democratic Party is basically extinct now. The ones that remain just keep their mouths shut, and it's um, it's not impossible that World War III could break out at any time. Um, we don't know what Putin's going to do, but he is continuing to harass governments that are part of NATO. Uh, he is continuing to send jets into places like Poland and perhaps Hungary and Turkey. That was the one I was looking for. He's sending he's sending jets to fly around Turkey. So the whole thing is a very unpredictable mess. It's a very unpredictable mess. Um, well, I believe that, Elaine. I believe that ultimately God is in control, and if He's not, it's curtains for us. It's curtains. Um, but by saying God is in control, I don't think that is a reason for us not to know about these situations and to discuss them and um, to obviously when it comes time to vote for the right people, you know, to vote for the right people. Um, Down south, these could be mosquitoes. Yeah, that's why Karen doesn't want to go. That's one of the top 15 reasons Karen doesn't want to go to the to down south is all the reptiles, bugs, and alligators. She doesn't seem to have any interest in finding an alligator on the lawn, you know. That's just one of the reasons. The heat and humidity would be even more on the priority list of reasons. We talk about Maine a lot because we do like Maine, but we're also smart enough to know in January you don't really want to be in Maine, you know. That's for the hardcore people with those, um, what do you call them? Those ruggy faces. Those, yeah, and they have that accent, you know, they do sound like the Pepperidge Farm accent. You can always tell a native when you see one. The governor looks like a native, but she sure doesn't act like someone worthy to serve the great state of Maine in any way, shape, or form. So, so tonight it's all about the shutdown. The only thing that's going on in the world is the shutdown, you know, and it'll probably go on for a while. It'll go on for a while, but it gives Trump the ability to fire people that he couldn't fire before, and he's not going to be firing the conservatives, you know. In various organizations, he can use the shutdown as an excuse to fire these people. Now, I imagine some judge will try and step in and stop that, but who knows how the chips will fall. Hi, Pam Donnelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Pop On to Pop Off. Um, Only turkey. I hope we have to deal with the fried legs at the fair. What was that other joke you gave me, Neo, in my email? You can always expect the unexpected from Neo there. He's a very punny man. Never liked the turkey legs at the fair. Not a dark meat kind of person, you know. A little bit, but not to that extent. The Renaissance Fair here in Tuxedo, New York, the last weekend is coming up. I think the weather's going to be nice for it. It's chilly tonight, and it's going to get chillier. Um, Look at this. We got 24 watching and 11 likes. And I see $2.01. That must be on the thanks button, and that must be from Sammy. That's not your usual number. Maybe they actually give me the count that of my cut. Maybe that's our in-time cut um, from the thanks button that Google provides. Uh, Google had to pay out a bunch of money there to the president. That's common knowledge, and I have no opinion on it at all. I didn't even really study it. I'm not going to say anything other than you saw the story. It's amazing with YouTube and now, and then of course ABC and CBS. You know, Trump is being very aggressive to collect when he thinks he's got a good case, and he seems to win a number of times. I think it's got to be well over 50 million that he's won in total, you know. But look what they did to him for so many years. Um, I don't know what that means, Neo, so I'll stay away from it. We have crocodiles, many venomous snakes, and spiders here in Arkansas. Really? I never considered that. You have a lot of water there? See, this is where my lack of schooling comes in. I don't. I don't know the geography very well. So when someone says I'm in East Indiana, well, I'm happy to hear it. Glad that you're out there in East Indiana, but I don't know the difference between East, North, West, and South Indiana. we we went down to Westchester uh, Tuesday. That would be yesterday, and saw Dr. Kynan and the X-ray, the MRI. Well, with the X-ray, it all looked good. It all looked good. The disc is holding in place, and the healing is going on. But he said, I really did a number on your nerves. and it's going to take a while to heal. And then she talked about her lower back, and he had an MRI that was done right there at the hospital. So he looked at that, and he said, "Yeah, I could go in there and I could scrape out that arthritis. I could, and I'd have to fuse that and whatever have you, and then you will be miserable for at least 2 months." What do you want to do? Think about it, I would say. Think about it, because you're not going to be a happy camper for 2 to 3 months. It's a long recovery time when they do something like that. And of course, insurance never pays all of it, so there'll be more bills for your part is 1,000, and that's just part of it. There'll be more bills coming. That's a Medicare Advantage plan for you. That's a Medicare Advantage plan. People who have Medicaid here in the United States of America, now you got something 100% coverage for the most part. The only thing about Medicaid, I remember the short time that I was on it, was that the dental coverage, especially for older people, was not good. Not good. Someone said to me, and I was like 66 at the time when they said it to me, 65, I don't know what I was. They said to me, if you were 20 years younger, this would be covered. This would be covered. In other words, you're not that far from 70. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, if you have all your teeth. You got enough, don't you? So that's what they tell you. Um, Neo wants a hat with crocodile or alligator teeth. I don't know if I've seen that one. What is the word you're saying? BASSED. What is that word, Neil? Yeah, Australia has all those venomous creatures, huh? Um, that I didn't know. I just knew about the kangaroos. Yeah, what the heck is that word, Neil? I don't know. Elaine Peterson saying hello to Pam. And 28 watching right now. So, when you're a creator, you've got to come up with some stuff that people will respond to. I mean, look at the wild new Elvis video that I have. Continues to grow, 67,000, whatever it is now. And, but an interesting thing is also happening besides all the drones and UFOs in the sky that people don't seem to notice because I think they're in bed. Uh, is this whole thing with Candace Owens and to a degree Tucker Carlson. Well, there's two issues. There's how they feel about Israel, and then there's the Charlie Kirk thing. Um, People feeling that Turning Point is not being honest, and I thought that Candace Owens, she was supposedly going to make this big reveal announcement on Monday concerning Turning Point and what she has found out. Instead, what I saw was a 58-second video from her saying, "How come I'm the only one talking about this?" Yeah, because if you're the only one talking about it, you're going to be the definite one they target to go down on it if you're not accurate. And I'm not saying she is accurate, and I'm not saying she isn't. But I think what happens here on YouTube is her main platform. She does the show from her basement and has a small staff, of investigators, whatever, I'm sure they perform multi-functions for her, including tech. But there's this thing that you're in this crowded market where everybody wants clicks, 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 and you get that being provocative. Candace Owens actually has more subscribers on YouTube than Tucker Carlson has on YouTube. I think she has something like 5.7 million the last I checked, and he has something like 4.9. He's on other platforms, and he's got his own platform, the TCN, the Tucker Carlson Network. But when you go to that environment, when you leave broadcast TV, or I should say cable TV, like Tucker did, now you're like everybody else in this world of being, oh, so provocative to get clicks, clicks, clicks. It's all about the clicks. You know, especially with Candace, she doesn't have the kind of money Tucker Carlson has. Estimated worth is supposed to be about 5 million, though I don't know if that's accurate or not. You know, but she had a falling away with the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, so now she's out there and she's got to you know go after the conspiracy theories and what have you. And I think, you know, these are topics that she's genuinely interested in. But what are we saying? Are we on the verge of trying to say that Erica Kirk had something to do with the death of her husband? Because people have been saying that and inferring that. And then the other thing is, and I'm not saying that's Candace. The other thing is that he was shot from the back. Why did they? Why did they immediately, a Turning Point worker, take the camera down, take the SIM card out, which he supposedly later showed the footage to Candace, but didn't want it broadcast? Why is she so jolly a few days after his death and all this, you know? I think when she was jolly is when she was sharing memories of her husband and reflecting on good times, you know. And then they tried to come up with this big thing on the Romanian charity that she had, and that it was closed down, and there were, some of those kids were sex trafficked. These are the kind of things if you're going to say stuff like that, you gotta have solid proof. You gotta have solid proof, um, because you can lose your platform real quick if you're saying things like that without proof. And you've got to be sure you can beat them at their own game. Even someone told me today, one of our regular people, that the Dominion voting machines was real and all that. Even if that were true, and I'm not saying that it was, that there was something wrong with the machines or they were being controlled, you've got to be able to really prove that beyond any shadow of a doubt. The Dominion company was turned in from a very small company into a $1 billion company on all the money they won in lawsuits. So, you know, you're really it's a dangerous game to play, you know. And there's so many people playing it on YouTube that even Tucker Carlson, you know, is doing more conspiracies than he ever used to do. And these long interviews. I enjoyed very much his interview with Charlie Sheen. Have you seen Tucker Carlson with Charlie Sheen? It's well worth seeing. Charlie Sheen has always been fascinating to me. Even when he was high on drugs and he was doing his speech about tiger blood. That was a 2012, 2011 thing that he did with a ABC reporter that 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 realized he was different. He was high. He was very high, but yet he was compelling. He was compelling. So the funny thing is that later on, okay, he's not on anger management. He's looking to make some money. He had to fight. He had to fight. Was it Warner Brothers that put on anger management that did that? He had to fight to get his paycheck. They tried to not pay him. They broke the contract, but they wouldn't pay him, and he was able to get the money. You know, because when someone is seeking treatment and what have you, you can't fire them. But he did like a home rehab, which is interesting. He claims that he's now coming up on 8 years being totally sober. So I'm really I'm really proud of that. And he's been doing some great interviews with everyone from Jesse Waters to certainly Tucker Carlson and many other people. But he was talking to Tucker about they came up with the idea that he would go to theaters and do a tour where he just talks to the people, shares story. Other people have tried this and it's worked. He's not a comedian, but he has a fan base that's very high, and people want to see Charlie Sheen, so they show up, and they expected it to find the Charlie Sheen that was, with the wide eyes and talking all about tiger blood. I can't tell you exactly what tiger blood is, but the funny thing is that none of this he said in the ABC interview that spellbound the audience was his material. It was a former, I think, a baseball player. I want to say his name is Brian Wilson. I think that's right. Brian Wilson, not the guy from the Beach Boys. There's a lot of people named Brian Wilson. There was a radio guy named Brian Wilson I used to listen to. But anyway, um, uh, he had talked to him about the tiger blood very close to the time he was going to do this ABC interview, which just, I think, was a weird way to look at life, a very intense way to look at life, and very controversial and thought provoking. So when Charlie shows up high, as a kite for the ABC interview, he remembers what this guy told him and he just started performing it. So now the audience has come to Chicago or wherever they are to see that Charlie Sheen, and he doesn't have it anymore. He's not high, and he doesn't want to try to fake that. So he does other stuff, and the audience is not happy. They literally started throwing stuff at him. And so the first show was an absolute disaster, and they knew they had to do something. Um, you can't have people throwing stuff at you. So they worked out a better show, but eventually they brought in a professional whose name I can't think of right now that rewrote the show and gave him some funny material and things like that. And by the time they got to their fifth city, Charlie Sheen was a hit. He was a hit. Wouldn't you have loved to have a tape of that first show uh, with Charlie Sheen on tour? But he still hasn't gotten a big gig since Anger Management. They really wanted him to do things their way. They wanted him to. They fired up the Warner Brothers jet. He said it was idling on the runway waiting for him to take him to their choice of rehab. And he said, no, I'm going to do this at home. And that didn't sit too well with him. But eventually, they brought in Ashton Kutcher, of course, to replace Charlie. And they tried to not pay Charlie. And Charlie had a good lawyer and was able to get what they owed him because he would have returned to the show after rehab. And he's been clean for 8 years. So, what's going on? Mike Love, Brian Wilson. Well, that's the Beach Boys. They hated each other. Mike Love hated Brian Wilson, and Brian Wilson hated him. A lot of people seem to hate Mike Love, to be honest with you. He's known for being difficult. I think that's a true statement, but he has been the voice of the Beach Boys forever, and he's still out there. Goes out on tour with Herman's Hermits. They were supposed to do a show last week in Alabama at one of the fairs, but didn't happen. Didn't happen because the weather came into play. So I follow Peter Noon, and I always get a kick out of him walking around the Virginia State Fair before he thinks his fan base is going to get there. And he loves to look at the tractors and talk about the foods that he's seen and what have you. I love fairs because I played fairs and festivals for 8 years. How are you, Teresa Lee Leonard? What's going on in your life? Let's not make it all about me. Saw an interesting broadcast tonight, though, I got to tell you about. There's been a big shakeup with Suzanne Summers products and the people that are running it. Of course, Alan Hamill, her widower husband, is the owner, but the president, which was also in the family, resigned, saying she didn't feel the company's going in a new direction. She didn't know what the spot would be for her. I think she assumed that she would inherit the company someday. And Al has a daughter who's off and on these broadcasts. So it was very tense tonight with Big Al. People love when he's on, but this tonight they couldn't get off of there fast enough. Most of the comments were negative, although there were some positive about the products and things like that. They said he was going to answer all the questions, and then they just ended the broadcast, so they're in real trouble. But people can spot phoniness because Carolyn said that she would stay with the company for 3 months. I don't think that's going to happen, and she wasn't being fired and what have you. But it seems like a situation where the daughter wants to make sure, Leslie wants to make sure that this is her company at some point. And Carolyn, who was the daughter-in-law of Suzanne Summers, um, felt after 30 years and inventing a lot of the products and inspiring a lot of the products herself, she felt that my guess is just my opinion, that she thought the company would go to her. Had duck in Portugal, says Neo. I don't know. Did you ever tell me what that word you're trying to say means? Um, yeah, see, that's the thing. If they know John Stamos, if the fans know John Stamos is going to be playing drums, um, that'll fill the house right there. That'll fill the house. But often people don't know because John doesn't know if he's going to be able to do it, if he's, unless he has something he has to prioritize, uh, the acting gigs and whatever else he may be into. So they don't usually get the promo in advance that John Stamos will be there. It's kind of a surprise that happens. So you don't get the benefit of selling the hall out because of John. And Herman's Hermits, Peter Noon, I think, is realizing more and more he has to go out with somebody else when he can, because he's played every freaking place on the globe, it seems, every city in America. Yeah, he's 76 and he goes out constantly, and they don't want him in England. That's a funny thing. He doesn't do anything in England. He used to, but not anymore. So he's been to like North Tonawanda, New York, up by Buffalo. He goes there every year. Those kind of places, and the small casino in Vegas and things like that. He lives in Santa Barbara. So Peter Noon is just one of those people that fascinates me, because he still licks the envelopes to, if you want a lyric sheet that he will sign, he licks the envelopes and goes to the post office himself. And he's a team of one, it seems. It seems like he's a team of one. He does have a good band, but you never see them together to It's Almost Showtime. To It's Almost Showtime. And he essentially does the same song with a few different, same stage show with a few different songs thrown in, the non-hits. He'll do, instead of doing, one particular oldie from another group, he'll do another song and change it up a little bit. But basically, you're going to hear him open with Something Tells Me I'm Into Something Good, and then he'll go into a song that wasn't his just like Romeo and Juliet. That wasn't a Peter Noon Herman's Hermits hit. So if you've seen him, he puts on a wonderful show, but I mean, it's going to be close to the same show every time you see him, except when he does his merry old English Christmas shows in December. So they're saying Fox has more viewers than ABC, CBS, and NBC. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's Clay Travis on there. He's wonderful. I was listening to the Clay and Buck show a little bit this afternoon. I always try to catch some of them. If I'm in the car, I'm definitely going for 710 WOR that carries Clay Travis and Buck Sexton noon to 3 p.m. our time. Hey, Brenda Sweeney, what's going on with you? Welcome, 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 Brenda. Every time I think of every time I see Brenda Sweeney, I think of Sydney Sweeney because she's always all over the Facebook and what have you, doing very well still. Um, if the movies, you can't really judge these days if a movie doesn't do well at the theater because nobody goes to the movies anymore. I mean, people's conduct at movies, they can't keep their mouths shut. My son was telling me, though, this new Leonardo movie. I was just talking to him today, my son, and he was saying you got to see it and see it in IMAX if you can. It's one of Leo's best pictures. So I do want to see the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Anybody see it? Anybody see it? He never does. He's so A-list that he just picks and chooses, and he doesn't pick junk. He doesn't pick junk. I've told the story about on the Titanic how he tangled with James Cameron and he didn't want to audition. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio. You know my work. You either know I can do this or you don't. I don't know how it finally worked out, but he decided to go with Leo, but was nervous because Leo was pissing and moaning throughout the rehearsals and what have you. And he said, "Oh, I may have made a terrible mistake here." The red light comes on the camera, and within 3 minutes, he said, "My God, he's great." He's great. He says the character was Jack, of course, and he says, "Well, there's Jack. I can rest now." He knows exactly who Jack is. That is the talent of Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. So it's amazing how many times you hear about actors that really were doing terribly in their personal lives. They were in a dark spot. They were drinking and trying not to drink, of course, when it came time for filming. But some actors, Charlie Sheen definitely did some anger management, slightly inebriated, but he could cover it so well and he made it work for the character. He wasn't always straight when he did anger management. That's how bad it was getting. When they realized that, they realized he had to get to rehab. And he realized it too. So, what is going on with everybody? Don't see Brenda here. I think that's right. She's back in the hospital, Brenda Noyce. Brenda Noyce is back in the hospital. And I don't see too much I can respond to. Hi, Jack and everyone from Australia. Yes, Jackie is another one of our Australian people who's been with us for quite some time. Oh, Jody Smith hit the thanks button for $2. Thank you so much, um, Jody Smith. I appreciate that very much. We're just starting off October, and I'm not doing a studio stream tonight. I think we've got to do some various times because I think we're shutting out some of our own people. I ask what's a good time for you, and I don't usually get a response, um, because I know if I show up like in the midday, that's when all the trolls are there. It's a hostile audience in the midday, especially if I'm speaking anything in terms of politics, because the people I seem to draw at that time are all very, very left wing. So it's interesting. But I appreciate that so much, Jody, for you hitting the thanks button for any amount. That helps me. And so I've been noticing that there's uh, there's other people struggling out there. There's other people struggling out there. Um, you lose your footing and you think it's going to be easy to get it back. I haven't lost my footing, but I don't want to. I don't want to do every video about Bob Joyce, and there's not always going to be material. There'll be times when the story is red hot, and there'll be times when it's not. There'll be times when it's not. So I'm I don't know about the regimentation of every Wednesday and Saturday without ever taking a break from that regimentation is a good thing. Is a good thing. I think we can try some odd hours. I can tell you that I'm not going to desert you. I appreciate the family that we have here, and I might well go back to the regimentation, but doesn't hurt to change things up once in a while, change things up. And a lot of people here just kind of want to talk amongst themselves and say hello. It's kind of like, I guess, a chat room or a Facebook page kind of thing. And that's okay. Um, Sometimes in the replay, which is our biggest audience usually, um, I I notice more people since they're not able to do that. They're sometimes bringing up various points and what have you, and it doesn't have to be confined to one topic. Um, I also know there's a lot of people dealing with various struggles and what have you. As the older we get, things are going to start to happen. Things are going to start to happen. And I think Hannity's getting ready to wrap it up. Never been too big of a Gutfeld fan in terms of the Gutfeld show. Be careful. Uh, One of the things I hate about this house is that staircase, because I just worry about Karen taking a fall on it. When she first got home from the hospital, we were always right there, and now, she's becoming more independent. But I would much rather a single floor home, and I'm about as sick of New York as you can be. You got back from the grocery store? What's the name of your grocery store, Jody? Food Lion? I remember the southern grocery stores, Big Saver. Piggly Wiggly had closed. The sign was still up, but Piggly Wiggly was gone by the time I made it to Rock Hill, South Carolina. Yet I felt very at home in that place, surprisingly, except that my kids weren't there. I had to go 12 hours up the road to see my kids, which wasn't a terribly long time. Um, but that was the only thing about that. And if I have a regret about moving to South Carolina, it's that I should have stayed closer to my kids. I mean, they were already grown, but it was a rough time. It was a rough time with somebody new in the house, that kind of thing. And, there was a degree of selfishness in me going to South Carolina, and especially being hooked on what we ended up doing, which was playing fairs and festivals with my second wife being a professional clown. I mean, I could have done that forever. I could have done that forever. I actually enjoyed that life more than being a radio disc jockey, and I loved being a radio disc jockey, no doubt about it. So, but eventually, radio would not pay the bills and would certainly not give me a pension, not at my level of radio. And that led to 19 years pretending to be a peace officer at a homeless men's shelter. I never thought that was God's A plan for me. It was the B plan because I wasn't ready to step up and assume the A plan. So, let's see, we've already been on 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Yes, he's talking about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban separating. What's this? She wants to move to Portugal? Portugal? Why Portugal? Um, she she is still an A-list movie star. She's in the twilight of that, I think, but she still gets big roles. I mean, look at Helen Mirren. She gets big roles, and she's how old now? 80, I think. 80. And Dame Judy Dench is 90 and still working. Amazing. We lost Robert Redford. He died in his sleep. That's a pretty good way to go, I guess. 89 years old. He was always a good interview. So I found myself watching one of his movies that I had not seen called The Clearing. Anybody see that? Um, it wasn't great, but it was great to see him. It was great to see him and Helen Mirren 20 years ago when she was like 70 or whatever, or was she 60? Um, but it was the kind of movie I think Robert Redford took because there wasn't anything great being offered to him at the moment, and he wanted to keep working for a while. And you're not going to have a movie like The Natural offered to you every year, or twice a year. You're not going to have that. He did so many great films, The Great Gatsby and All the President's Men, and et cetera, et cetera. What's your favorite Robert Redford movie? Um, but he loved Utah. He died in his own bed, in his sleep, Sundance, Utah. And I guess that's a pretty good deal. Go down to the end of the comments here. Oh, here's Christari. Hi, Christari. How are you feeling? Glad. Yeah, this is our regular time now, isn't it? Where we would normally be on. I didn't want to not be on, but I just didn't feel like going up to that studio and doing the razzle dazzle. And so if I don't have a lot of razzle dazzle, sometimes I just like to visit with the family and talk from my heart and see what happens, talk about things that have been going on. The trip to Westchester was okay, to and from. I never liked going down towards New York, going down to Westchester and what have you. Um, Cold here in Australia, huh? Weather is crazy. It's going to be getting very cold here, but it'll take a while. It's going to be chilly the next few nights, but by Saturday, I mean, we've had so many 5-star days this past weekend. I wanted to go to see Jimmy Sturr in Binghamton, New York, but I wasn't going to go sit there by myself, and Karen wasn't ready to do that, and I respect that. And Polka Sean is on the Polka Sean and Norma didn't go either because Polka Sean is on the men from a serious procedure. And so we'll wait for Oktoberfest, which is a week from this coming Sunday in Pine Island, New York. We'll probably all show up for that. So how you feeling, Chris Story? What's going on there? Jupiter's realm. Hi, Jupiter's realm. Can't get over the no bag policy. Not even clear bags allowed. I think you mentioned that the night before. Oh, no, you're talking about going into an event where they wouldn't allow you to bring a bag in. People want to go in. Uh, a lot of the polka events I notice always say there'll be food and drink available, so no BYOB and no BYOF, because those people got to make money, and they don't make money if everybody brings their own stuff in. So, what kind of event did you not be able to bring your clear bag into? Hey, Rocky Mountain Red Wing, all our regular people now. We're just downstairs tonight doing really a pop on to off. It's not a bona fide worldwide ramblings. Did anyone notice how much coffee has gone up? I wish I would have stocked up. Well, Karen lets me know, it used to be you could get a deal on what does she love so much that begins with an M? I could go get the can, but I'm not going to do it. um, and she likes this. What the heck is it? That coffee that begins with an L? Lavazza. Lavazza. Oh, look at this! I got 15. I only got 15% on my battery left. I forgot about that factor coming into play here. Um, but me being a non-coffee drinker, although I do feel I'm missing out every time I have some, I realize no, I still don't like coffee. I still don't like coffee, but I love my British blend Tetley tea. No sugar, just a little cream, or sometimes hot chai tea with, uh, something like Splenda or stevia, like that a lot. And that I put the milk and cream combo, like 2% milk mostly, and then a little dab of half and half. That's what I like. Just just love it. And check out our video that we did live. Karen's in it from Sunday when we were at the Campbell Hall Plaza. I was started my video by myself at Brother Bruno's, and then we went past the bagel shop that was closed. It just closed at 3 o'clock, and I waved to Demetria. Can't really see her on camera because of the glare. And then down to Washy Washy, Mr. Washy Washy Laundry. We actually had a little talk with Mr. Washy Washy and his dog, Grumpy, Mr. Grumpy. So that's a pretty good video that we did just for fun. So 32 watching and 20 likes here on this pop on to pop off, not worldwide ramblings tonight. Mint black tea, something, and then the word chai. Enjoy a lot of different teas. Well, I'm a straight black tea person when it comes time for serious morning tea drinking. But when it's, the afternoon or something, I stay away from green tea. I remember that news report that says green tea lowers the effectiveness of blood pressure medicine. So I don't take it. I don't take it. What do we have, a troll here? Or are you telling me to go back where I come from? The Bronx? You want to send me to the Bronx, Chris Starry? I'll be killed. I'll be killed. Oh my goodness. And Kami the Mandami, who's probably going to be the next mayor, he'll only make things worse. Oh, I'm not a communist, he says. I'm not a communist. I don't want to defund the police anymore. No, I don't want to bankrupt the city with giving out enough free stuff to make sure that New York totally goes into the toilet. No, I don't. I'm not going to be that bad. Jack, do you think that the empty seats at the new church is the chapel's way of weeding out who are the real followers and who were just there to see him? If you know what I mean. You always say stuff like that. If you know what I mean, the Neil Diamond song. Um, I think that people can only afford to visit so many times, but I've always heard that the congregation is 25% local people and 75% visitors. So who's to say? Who's to say? Um, People can't be visiting there every week. They can't be doing that. He's in a very out of town place, but his views on YouTube are not amazing. They're not amazing. Uh, but he definitely has people that go there for the wrong reasons. But as I always say, that gives the Holy Spirit an opportunity. Have you heard the latest count from the last 2 weeks? I don't have the count for the last 2 weeks, and I don't know if they'll be posting that after we commented on it. But I'm very curious if anyone can email me, Jack the Fair Guy, FAIR. Hi, Willie. Willie. Oh, Willie. Hello, Willie. That's the audience, Willie. That's Willie. What's the matter, Willie? You a pamper poochie. I know you're not really a dog, but I call you a pamper poochie. I call you a pamper poochie. I do. I never get your face right. Willie, Willie, Willie. Yeah, that's you. That's you, Willie. That's Willie Loomis, our cat. And so whatever I was saying. Yes, Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. Jack the FAIR guy at gmail.com. Please hit the thanks button if you can for this pop on to pop off. Cash App is lowercase letters Media Guy 56. Media Guy 56. We'll do a formal worldwide rambling soon, I promise you that. Rocky Mountain. Yeah, I would love to know the attendance for the last few weeks or anything you have on the topic. Jack the Fair Guy, FAIR at gmail.com, lowercase letters. Teresa, talking to Jupiter's Realm. Hey, here's Vinny. Vinny, I'm literally running out of juice on my phone here. This is just a pop on to pop off tonight. But thank you so much, Vinny. You hit the Cash App last week, the later part of the show, and I appreciate that very much, and I don't expect you to do it tonight. Okay? I just, we'll do a formal worldwide rambling soon. I don't know your schedule, though. Tell me your schedule in the email. What works for you, and other people do the same thing, Other times you'd like to see us do a worldwide ramblings. Well, looky there. Even when I'm early, I'm still late. Yeah, this is just something we did after 9 o'clock. So I'm sorry about that. Um, but there's a little bit of juice left, but it's not much. And I can't hook up from here. What's been going on with you, Vinny? I found it very intriguing that you live in two different places, and they're both hot desert places. I mean, I would think one of your places would be like Maine or Massachusetts, and the other place would be the hot place. We know, a couple that have two homes, and they're both in the desert. One is in Palm Springs. Well, that's as hot as Las Vegas, right? And I can't remember where the other place is they live, but they're both very hot places. I would always go for, kind of Maine would be a dream for me to be. Even if I had a studio apartment in Maine, I'd be happy, uh, somewhere like Wells, Maine, something like that. Um, you know, and then Florida, something like that. So far, the first two hurricanes, Imelda and what was it? Humberto went out to the sea, so that's good. But there's another one forming, right? Another one forming. Uh, October seems to be the month, so we'll see what happens. We'll hope nothing happens. A wizard is never late. A wizard is never late. And Frodo Baggins. Well, that's not Fredo from the good from the Godfather or the Good Father. He arrives precisely when he means to. Vinny is now becoming mysterious, and I like it. I love people that are mysterious. Neo, I have to figure Neo out because I think he's been into the Boone's farm, so that's a little different. He's a puppeteer, or she's a puppeteer, or someone. I'm forgetting your sex now, Neo. I'm sorry. I apologize. What are your pronouns, Neo? uh, but there are people that are, that are. By the way, I saw a little bit of John B. Wells. Give that guy a watch. He's worth it. He's worth it. I know he went to the first George magazine live and he spoke there for 20 minutes or whatever they gave him. But John B. Wells does a show every night, and he's like the new Art Bell in a sense. He used to host a weekend version of Coast to Coast AM, but long after I had stopped listening to it because I had retired from the overnight job. So um, a wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. Yeah. Now that's got me wondering what you're into, Biddy. But it's a very interesting thing that you live in two different places like that, and I guess you work in one of them and don't in the other, or whatever you do. I'm only guessing, and I don't mean to have you spill your personal life out. Just anything that you would want to share. Uh, Elaine is talking to Vinny. Jackie's talking to Vinny. Um, Jack, I do think with everything going on in America, Pastor Bob is really leaning on the truth that everything is making him think about time being of the essence. Well, whether he's 90 or he's in his 70s, you start to think about that as you get older. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Robert Redford certainly thought about that and talked about it. This Elliot Mins, who's this radio icon who also did a lot of TV and was pals with John Lennon and Yoko and what have you. He says, he's 80. He doesn't look it. The voice is still as incredible as it always. Look him up right here on YouTube. Elliot Mins, Minz. I think you'll find him a very interesting gentleman. He's in top-notch shape. He looks like he's going to live a long time. I don't know. But, you realize when you get to 80 that, man, now you got to really think about how you spend your time. How you spend your time. When you're young, you're just young, dumb, and what's that other word? um, you think you're invincible, and there's a certain happiness that you have, and then of course you realize you have to go work for a living. By the way, if the phone just dies, it means the battery died. I can't even see when I'm live here how much juice I got left, unless I get a notification saying you have 10%. I got a 15% a while back, so it won't be too long, but I'm staying on. And look at that. Chris Starry hits the thanks button for $1. Thank you very much. Everybody did that. That would help too. So thank you, Chris Starry. It's a new month of October, and it's kind of a quiet time. But look, it's only a few weeks now to Pastor Bob is in Alabama. Uh, and I know that there's a few of you going. I think, Teresa, you're one of them. And I really hope that you give me a good report and maybe some video in my email, jackthefairguy@gmail.com. Love to be able to tell that story. Love to have some perspective. Some of you are going, but you're not going to go to the meet and greet because it was so expensive, you know. I understand that. But thank you, Christari. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Jody Smith, for hitting the thanks button. Cancer free rang the bell today. Are you kidding me? Is that true? I'm so happy. Answered prayer there. We've been praying for Christari for a long time. Cancer free. My goodness. If I were to go back 6 months, you were writing like, not only had you bought the farm, you were picking out the curtains. So that's wonderful news. I guess I am having my cheat day today. I ate a bag of dill Lay's chips. Oh, I know about those. Yeah. And the dill Planters peanuts, I think. I think Planters peanuts makes the dill, the peanuts laced in salt and dill. Very tasty. Um, Gandalf. Who is Gandalf? Remember, I only have a GED, Vinny, and I barely squeezed through that. Oh, it's Lord of the Rings? Okay, well, then I should go right upstairs and hand the phone to Andy, and he'll tell you all about Lord of the Rings. And then he'll shoot me as soon as the broadcast is over, so maybe I won't do that. He's on the shy side. He's on the shy side, but he would be the aficionado. He would be the go-to guy for Lord of the Rings. See, I just don't get into that kind of stuff. Some of it I have, like Romeo and Juliet was really good with Leonardo. I know that's not really a good example. Period pieces, it depends. If my favorite people are in the period piece, if Antonio Banderas suddenly does Shakespeare, I'll probably watch it. But now my thing is to see that new Leonardo DiCaprio film in the theater. That would be a good thing, I think. See that. My son says it's excellent. He's going on the road tomorrow, but I won't share his personal life. He's going to take a break from work and going on the road. Can I tell you that he's going to see Paul McCartney on Saturday night? He is. He's never seen Paul McCartney, and neither have I, but he's going to see him. So now all you have to do is look up, where will Paul McCartney be? What stadium will he be at on Saturday night? And you'll know where my son will be. I don't think he's got front row seats, We were never that wealthy. So yeah, sure, Pastor Bob is thinking about that. Clock is ticking, and he's preaching hard. I think preaching soft is actually more effective, because preaching soft, if you're saying the right things and it's anointed, turns into teaching. Can I say something that annoys me, that it won't make me any more popular at Household of Faith, but there's that one woman that everything he says, she's got to say amen, and she says other things, and it's every sermon that he's ever done that she goes, she's never not there. And it's, I just want to say sometimes, shut up. That's my honest feeling. Because I know, I doubt she falls into this category at all. But I have seen in my visits to the Pentecostal church people that are loud and boisterous, and they don't seem like when the service is over they're the same person. You know what I mean? I've seen strange things happen. So, I mean, preach it. No, teach it. They might learn more if you just softly teach it, because the Holy Spirit is not a screamer. It's the still small voice of the Holy Spirit. Every once in a while you go to shouting. I got it. Raise your hands. Yes. not a lot of churches don't do that. Raise your hands and praise the Lord and do all that. That's wonderful. I'm not against getting excited and even doing a little jig if you feel the Holy Spirit on you. But we know in the Pentecostal church that has been faked so many times, and the Rod Parsleys of this world were never my cup of tea, never my cup of meat. What do you think, Vinny? He's talking to Chris Dari. I'm going to lose this signal any minute. I can feel it. I'm running out of juice. Uh, Glad we got to come into the 10 o'clock hour. Jack, you're brilliant. What did I say that could possibly be brilliant? If I were brilliant, I'd be in church every Sunday. So pray that I go back to that. I really, sometimes, after I do a Saturday night show, I'm really up and I can't sleep. And I use that as an excuse not to get to the 11 o'clock service, maybe a Goodwill church or go to mass. I'm comfortable in both, especially if it's a priest who I feel is born again, because you got to be born of God's Spirit. You say you can be comfortable in the Catholic Church, even though there's this that's wrong with the doctrine and that, this and this. Yes, I can, because I tune all that out, and there's something really special about the mass and the liturgy. I mean, I was raised on that, so it's in my blood. But the Pope was saying some woke things today. The Chicago Pope didn't score any points with Raymond Arroyo, who you see on Laura's show on Fox. The Ingram Angle. Of course, Raymond Arroyo has a great show of his own right here. You can see it on YouTube, the world over on the EWTN network. Big Raymond Arroyo fan. Watch that show. He's very good, and he always has a priest on and another gentleman that knows Catholicism, and it's called the Papal Posse. They talk about the Pope, the Papal Posse. So watch Raymond Arroyo right here on YouTube. Great shows. I know I'm jiggling because I'm holding it with my right hand, which is going numb. So we're gonna lose this signal real soon. Vinny, so Jack, when did you realize you were a candidate for the rubber room? Well, Vinny, my mom dropped me on my head when I was very young, and I knew pretty early on. For one thing, I noticed that my school bus, was smaller than the other kids. I wondered about that. What did you say, Vinny? So, Jack, you're unfamiliar with I'm not unfamiliar with C.S. Lewis. No, no, no. I loved some of C.S. Lewis's books. I loved Anthony Hopkins playing C.S. Lewis. Um, I've heard of certainly J.R.R. Tolkien, but I can't tell you that I've really read it. No, so I'll have to look into that. But C.S. Lewis, yeah. Uh, he, I probably don't have time before we cut out. And I thank you so much. I heard the thing going off there. Can't thank anybody because I can't go to another screen. I will when we do our next Worldwide Ramblings, and I'll promo when that's going to be, okay? Travel visas aren't too bad. Work ones are. Neo, you always come up with original material. But Vinny seems to relate to what you're saying, so that's good. It may go over my head, but I remember C.S. Lewis. What's the name of the book? I can't think of it right now. He's talking about the old lady who's so proud of herself that always, when she's brought food, says, "Oh, that's way too much for me. Way too much for me. I could never eat that much." But he said if you follow her around in the course of any given day, she eats like a dozen times. She just does it in small portions. So she's more attracted to food than she would have you think. You know what I'm saying? C.S. Lewis, brilliant, and Sir Anthony Hopkins as C.S. Lewis was brilliant. But still, my favorite movie from Sir Anthony, is Remains of the Day, where he plays the English butler. I've seen that so many times. I tend to watch movies over and over, sometimes edifying movies like that, sometimes Notes on a Scandal. Oh dear, I'm just watching it for the acting talent of Dame Judi Dench. Kate Blanchett has nothing to do with it. Oh well, I said I'd be here. I never said I'd be perfect. Um, so I got some reading to do. I got some catching up to do. But Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and all that. Although I did watch a little of Star Wars and enjoyed it very much. Mark Hamill certainly turned out to be a left-wing idiot. Love Harrison Ford. What Lies Beneath? That's a great Harrison Ford movie. Have you seen that, Vinny? Have you seen that, Elaine Peterson? Have you seen that, Chris Starry and Neo? I know you've seen all the Muppet films, Neo. Oh, I'm further down here than I realize. Oh, we're going dark, folks. Love ya. Battery power is leaving me. We'll do a Worldwide Ramblings really soon. I'm so glad that you joined me. I appreciate you very much. Jack Willard is my name. JackTheFairGuy@gmail.com. Should I just keep going till the screen goes blank on me? Because it's about to happen. That would be easier than me trying to shut it off, I think. Then I'll plug in. I can barely see what you're writing. What, Willie? What? You want to go out, Willie? You want to go out and see the kittens, don't you? Yeah, we got these kittens here. They all got fixed, and they're being well taken care of. Oh, you're on my lap. You don't usually come on my lap. Oh, don't leave me. Don't leave me, Willie. Don't leave me, Willie. Please don't leave me, Willie. How come I can't see you? Are you there? Yeah. So that's the story. Oh, Willie. You want to see the kitties. I know. They're sleeping now. 4 kittens and Mama. We named them after Dark Shadows characters. I don't know if you guys can even hear me anymore, because this phone is just about to completely die. I won't know till I watch the replay. Thank you, Elaine. We'll see you soon on a real Worldwide Ramblings, all right? Good night, Vinny. Good night, Elaine. Good night, Neo. Good night, Christari. I'm so happy for your good report. Cancer-free. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Helen McDonald, Jupiter's Realm, and certainly some of the earlier people as well. I guess you guys can still hear Teresa Pinnell, of course. Of course. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. And that's all she wrote for now. Bye-bye, everybody.